What's good, Osiris here. The Times, New York Times, had this article that came out, captivating to read. Nothing groundbreaking too much, but just fun reading and fun to watch the reaction of people who really don't understand what's going on with the populist right. They thought that this was some big deal. It's going to divide the GOP. We're talking about Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell. The populist right movement, they already have those dudes off to the side and waiting for the opportunity to replace them. I know Mitch McConnell just won re-election, and I have no idea how. We are in such a different place right now. There's no way Mitch McConnell could win a re-election in Kentucky. But this article has some gems in it. Let's get into it. I've had it with this guy. GOP leaders privately blasted Trump after J6. This is McCarthy. He wanted it. He planned to tell Trump to resign. That's funny. Senator Mitch McConnell told allies impeachment was warranted. You know, this isn't funny. I mean, it's not. No, I'm not saying that. This isn't surprising. You know, part of what happened with J6 is that people, I would guess, how do you think Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell would poll with people who were there in D.C. on J6? Those dudes couldn't break 20% in the poll with that group. So for them to say, for them to think, okay, this thing happened, they couldn't care less about the riot. They couldn't care less who perished or anything about the riot. They're thinking about their heads in politics. And you read this article, anywhere in this article did Kevin McCarthy or Mitch McConnell say anything. Now, the New York Times is bringing it up, so maybe it's not everything, but I don't think these guys are thinking about the common person. Nowhere in this article they're all thinking about the political chess. The first thing that I was thinking about is, the first thing that I was thinking as I watched J6 was, damn, how did we let it get to this point? Frustrated people, all the pandemic stuff, all the gaslighting, the Black Lives Matter, escalation, nobody de-escalating, nobody trying to say, how do we live together when we disagree on fundamental issues? Nobody does that. I was thinking that as I was watching the fences get pushed away. These guys couldn't care less. And that's why the people don't care about them. They don't care about the people at all. They don't even pretend. So this is after J6, the top two Republicans, Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, or minority. I jumped ahead. I'm going to get to who should be Speaker when hopefully there's a red wave. Right now, I'm more on the side with the populist right than anything else in D.C. There's no populist left. Maybe Katie Porter, and everything else is a bootleg. So I'm good. I'm with the populist, and I like Marjorie Taylor Greene right now. We'll see. But I'm hoping they take over, and then we'll talk about Speaker. So they got these audio recordings, New York Times, and here's what some of them sound like. McCarthy went on to say that he would push Trump to resign. I've had it with this guy, he told a group of Republican leaders. So you can see Kevin McCarthy. He was part of the Young Guns back, years ago. And you could see it like Paul Ryan and them. You could see him. He's like thinking, this is the opportunity. I've had it with this guy. He's not a Trump dude. He's not MAGA. MAGA doesn't like him. So he's kind of like, is this the moment? He's testing the waters. He's in the room and he's hoping he'll say, I'm just speculating. This is what I have in my head. I don't have enough details to know for sure. But to me, it sounds like he's in the room and he's like, I've had it with this guy. And he's looking around. He's like, I'm hoping that somebody else says that as well. And it didn't work, obviously. They backed off within weeks, both men, very powerful dudes. Kevin McCarthy, very politically savvy too. Mitch McConnell was like, I think he should be impeached. But then he was like, I didn't get to be leader by voting with 5 people in the conference. Mitch McConnell doesn't have like scruples or morals or conviction or principles, or he doesn't have any of that. He's a survivor. He'll do what he needs to do to stay in office. Lefties were like, wow, look at this. People are trying to say, whoa, these guys never wanted Trump. And then they flipped because remember, Mitch McConnell had that big speech like, oh, Trump was so bad and all this. And then now he's saying, I'm going to back Trump. You know, it just comes up to this simple thought. They don't want those problems. They don't want the problems with MAGA. They don't want those problems with Trump. They already have problems with him. Imagine if they were trying to still come at him. They would be in over their heads. Trump is not a dude you want to go after. And why? Why do I like that so much? It's because the people behind him, that's the power. That's the only power Trump has. He has no connections. He really is terrible when it comes to connections in the swamp. The only connections in the swamp that he has are like Chris Christie and them that eat him alive. That's why he had his family with him. But Mitch McConnell, he declined to comment when New York Times said, "Hey, did you really do this?" Or Kevin McCarthy called the reporting totally false and wrong. I think they have audio. Did they play the audio? I didn't see the audio in here. Or is this the audio right here? Actually, I did not play this. Let me see if this plays.
Liz, you on the phone?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Kevin. I guess there's a question. When we were talking about the 25th Amendment resolution.
Yeah.
Oh, they're talking 25th. You know, we've got a president right now that can barely stand up and walk. He's being ushered around by the Easter Bunny. And you're talking, and this is when the 25th is brought up. What did Donald Trump do, by the way, that was so wrong and illegal? Can you help me out with that?
And you asked if what happens if it gets there after he's gone. Is there any chance? Are you hearing that he might resign? Is there any reason to think that might?
They don't sound like they believe it. Did you hear that? I think that's Liz Cheney, because later in the article, that's what they actually have the kind of the script, the text of that. Does she sound confident? No.
Happen?
I've had some few discussions. My gut tells me no. I'm serious.
Can you imagine having to work with these liars every day? Like, he knows there's no chance of this happening, but why are they still talking about it? You can hear it in his voice. He's just lying, unsure. And when I say lying, he's like, he doesn't believe what he's saying.
I'm seriously thinking of having that conversation with him tonight. I haven't talked to him in a couple days. From what I know of him, I mean, you guys all know him too. Do you think he'd ever back away? But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to call him. This is what I think. No, it'll pass the House. I think there's a chance it'll pass the Senate even when he's gone.
Come on, bruh. He might have actually believed that. He thought that they were going to impeach. You know what? When that happened, I have to go back to J6. When it went down, we didn't know what was going to happen. So I think that part he was real about, where he thought maybe it was such a insurrection and all this other stuff that it would bleed into the Republican Party, and maybe the dominoes would start falling. He was believing that because that's what he wanted. Because these guys are really smart. Mr. McCarthy knows Trump could run again. And he knows when Trump runs again, and potentially there's a red wave with that, he would never be majority. He would never be Speaker of the House. He's not going to be, if there's a red wave, he's not Speaker anymore. He's done. That's embarrassing. What is he going to be? Just a normal, he's got, even though he's a minority now, minority leader, he's kind of walking around like, I kind of run this. He hasn't done really a bad job when you look at the establishment bringing, he won 10 to 12 seats last election. So he's going to be walking around like just a normal member of the House. Yeah, he's scared of that.
And I think there's a lot of different ramifications for that. Now, I haven't had a discussion with the Dems that if he did resign, would it not happen? Now, this is one personal fear I have. I do not want to get into any conversations about Pence party, anything like that. I mean, the only discussion I would have with him is that I think this will pass, and it would be my recommendation you should resign. I mean, that would be my take, but I don't think he would take it.
Okay, so I'm going to end with this. This part was the most disturbing for me. This was really bothering to me, and not a surprise, but I want to highlight it here. During the same January 10 conversation, when he said he would call on Mr. Trump to resign, Mr. McCarthy told other GOP leaders he wished the big tech companies would strip some Republican lawmakers of their social media accounts. Come again, my nigga? What did you say? Mr. McCarthy told other GOP leaders he wished the big tech companies would strip some Republican lawmakers of their social media accounts. If there is a red wave, he needs to be regulated to the bench. Who steps up? I never in my life thought I would say this. The obvious choice for Speaker of the House is Jim Jordan. And I know there's problems because the people on the left call him Jim Jordan, but they spell it G-Y-M. I don't want to get sidetracked. But I would be all, because Marjorie Taylor Greene is the real leader, but I don't want her wrapped up in the duties of Speaker. And she just got there. Jim's a little bit more experienced. MTG can do better not being Speaker. People said Trump's not going to be doing the day-to-day. He's going to be chilling, running. He'll be there 2024. Because the way I interpret the rules, you can pick anyone to be Speaker. I mean, I would consider Bannon if he wanted to, but I don't think he's probably more powerful doing the show, actually. How about picking Alex Jones? Somebody like that. Steven Crowder, Speaker of the House. No, I'm just joking. This dude, Mr. McCarthy, wished allegedly, the big tech companies would strip some Republican lawmakers of their social media accounts. As Twitter and Facebook had done with Mr. Trump, members such as Lauren Boebert of Colorado had done so much to stoke paranoia and made offensive comments online. Mr. McCarthy said, we can't put up with that. Can't they take their Twitter accounts away too? It's over, man. It's over for this dude. That's the most important part to me from the whole thing. You want to know why we don't have a digital Bishop, I think, a friend of the show, on a comment said, yeah, we need a digital Bill of Rights. You want to know why we don't have a digital Bill of Rights? It's because of people like Mitch McConnell and Mr. McCarthy. Unacceptable. Unacceptable is not strong enough. He needs to be gone. He needs to go. As soon as he can go, he needs to go. Period. I am just, jeez. He literally said that they should have their accounts taken away. Just, you know what, Kevin? That's it. That should be it. He should be primaried. He should be gone. He should be the last of the young guns, and he survived, and he should be gone. Mr. McCarthy never said that particular members should be removed from Twitter, Mr. Bednar said, because he knows he can't live that one down. I find this funny because when you look at the people who voted against Trump for impeachment, All but one House Republican who voted to impeach Trump faces a Trump-endorsed challenger. And the one, so these are the people who voted to impeach Trump. Cheney, Rice, Newhouse, Butler, or I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I thought it was Butler, but I think it's Butler, Upton. And then Peter, this is Peter Mayer, right? Or Meyer. This is the one where Trump made fun of at the Michigan rally. But look, the last one is Valdo, and that's a D plus 10 in California. That's the only one that Trump didn't endorse somebody, and Trump's probably like, it's a D. You know, Trump only cares about winning. And Trump's like, that's a D plus 10. I'm not going to endorse anybody. So they're all on the list. 3 of them have already retired. Trump's still the sheriff in town. I don't care what none of y'all think. Take care.